Sports.
Welcome back to Bite Size Sports. It is another super-sized podcast, and with me is the illustrious Sean B. And Sean, I can't help but ask you, as the resident Phoenix Suns expert here, how are you feeling about the recent acquisition of one Kevin Durant?
I am extremely upset. More upset than I've been in a very long time. I was more upset about this trade than I was the Chris Paul trade, which eventually I ate my own words on that one. You know, he proved to be a vital part of the team for those first that first couple years. The first year, what made it to the championship? Second year, made it to the playoffs. So I was wrong on that one, and I admit it. But this one, don't feel like I'm wrong about it because, dude, I can't think of a player who is more injury prone in the NBA than Kevin Durant. Like seriously, man, when's the last time this dude played a full season?
Kawhi
Like
Leonard would
seriously.
like a word.
That is no, that's fair. So, but he's up there. He's top five in my opinion. I mean, the dude has a hard time staying on the court. Now, don't get me wrong. When he does play, he's phenomenal. He's definitely one of the greatest to ever do it. But I feel like they gave up a whole lot. Yeah, I mean, some people are obviously happy about it, but
You're not
me
wrong.
not so much. Me not so
You're
much, man.
you're not wrong about the price. Maybe we can dig into that a little bit. So what? It's Miles Bridges, Cam
Cal
Johnson,
Bridges,
Mikal Bridges. God, I've done that before. Sorry.
they're easy to get mixed up.
Yeah,
They were in the same draft too, so I mean that doesn't help.
and it's only unfortunate. It wouldn't have been it wasn't an unfortunate comparison until Miles had his off-court issues, but sorry. I digress from the tangent there, but yeah, Mikal Bridges, who by the way has done nothing but go off in Brooklyn. He had a 45-point outing in Brooklyn already. So he seems to have embraced the ability to spread his wings, so to speak. But yeah, the draft picks involved as well as the two good players. Like Bridges, in my opinion, has the potential to be a superstar, and Cam Johnson is one of the better 3-and-D guys in the league. I mean, he's a quality rotation piece. So I tend to I at least understand the feeling of did they give up too much, but I mean, how do you feel about? Do you think this team did they get good enough to win it all? They've added Terrence Ross as well. I know. This feels like deja vu, Sean, because I remember when we were talking about this in the off season, because Kevin Durant has been wanting to be a part of your squad here.
Yeah, and Kevin Durant, according to the Twitters, I have seen rumors of Kevin Durant trying to recruit Carmelo Anthony as well. So I don't know if that has any legs
I
to
love
it, but
that.
that would be. I mean, I don't know. They're just trying to go full blown Lakers and just get all the old dudes they can think of on the squad. I don't know what they're doing, man. But
2004 Lakers, baby.
yeah, dude. I'm just. I don't know, man. I'm not. I don't. It's not a knock against Kevin Durant as a player because he is a great player. But my biggest thing is injuries, man. Like, can he stay healthy? So yeah, if he does help us get to the playoffs, is he even going to play? Like, would he even play if we made it to the championship? Is he going to be available? Like, that's the questions I have to ask. Like, okay, we gave up all this shit to get him, but is it going to be worth it? And quite frankly, I just haven't seen enough to believe that it will be. So for me, I'm not super ecstatic like a lot of people I know, and I guess it's one of those we'll wait and sees. But dude, I would not have given up Mikal Bridges. I wouldn't even have gave up Cam Johnson. Jay Crowder, I understand he was disgruntled. He was going to have to go regardless. I don't necessarily miss him, but Mikal and Cam, that kind of hurts because I think you're absolutely right about Mikal. Like he has potential to really bloom out there, and I mean if that's the case, good for him. Maybe that is kind of what he needed. If it changes scenery, helps him become a superstar, then I'm not. I can't be mad about that. Like not gonna wish against someone's success for selfish reasons as a fan. Like that's not cool. So if he goes to Brooklyn and becomes a fucking superstar, more power to him, man. I'm all about it. But from a business standpoint, I just feel like the Suns really kind of gave up a lot not to get much back in return. Okay, you got KD and like a draft pick swap, but then you gave up a bunch of first rounders and some quality players. Like I don't know, man. I think they got pwned for real.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, so Durant has a maybe 2-3 year window left of being the guy or one of the top two guys on a team. That's my opinion. Devin Booker, of course, has a much longer window. I don't know. Might be generous here, but I'd give him 6 or 7 years left before we start to see an actual decline in Devin Booker. I'd say it's possible we haven't even seen him peak yet. I mean, he's still a relatively young guy. So I know Chris Paul. One of the bright spots here is that Chris Paul, I mean, first of all, had 19 assists the other night when Kevin Durant still hasn't played yet. So that was a good sign. But he has said that he already talked to Devin Booker about, hey, this is really special what we've got here. I'm not taking it for granted, which hopefully resonated with Devin Booker because Chris Paul has played on a lot of very talented teams. So for a guy who's third all-time in assists to come to you and say, hey, we have something special here, let's not take it for granted, hopefully that resonates to young Devin Booker because I could see I mean, he should be fine because he's probably grounded in the first 2 or 3 years of the Phoenix Suns' struggles. So nobody has to remind him that winning isn't easy. But I don't know. They with these three, if DeAndre Ayton can buy in, and by buy in also, they need to be feeding him 2 or 3. Just give them the ball 2 or 3 times a quarter, right? Just let Ayton get a little bit of work and then incentivize him somehow to be a beast on the offensive glass because with these guys, they start to get some motion. They run pick and rolls with Paul. You got either Booker or Durant in the corner. Ayton could feast off of nobody being able to get a body on him. So it's either you're going to bury the mid-range to three-point jumper, or Ayton is going to clean the glass and get easy putback jumpers. And that part, as a Suns fan, I would be salivating. And here's another part, Sean, that I think is good for you guys. Now, I'm not disagreeing with you at all, but I'm just being the glass half full guy. It's very rare for me to do that, so I'm relishing the opportunity, if you will. Another good thing about Kevin Durant, he's not a high usage rate guy. Kevin Durant, along with the likes of Klay Thompson, these are guys who can score 26 points on 18 dribbles. It's insane. You know, they're catch and shoot guys. Not to say that Kevin Durant doesn't have moves. He does. But there are very few players in the league outside of those Bruce Bowen types that literally stand in the corner and catch and shoot. There are very few guys in the league that have an ability to go get open without the ball, be an active part of the offense without dribbling the basketball, and can still just punish you with open jumpers or contested jumpers. And what I'm getting at is when it comes to trying to mesh different personalities and different play styles, the Suns at least, all they really have to do is run sets they've already been running for Devin Booker, but flip it and just call it for Durant instead. You know, so like at least they have that as like a bridge to their whatever their new playbook is going to look like. So does any of what I said make you feel better? Because I think you have a potential championship contender on your hands here.
It definitely does put me at ease a little bit hearing it from Kev. I definitely feel a little bit better.
Well,
but I'm still not completely bought in to the fact that this would be hard for me to justify giving up what they gave up to get him, man. I need to see something first. Like I need to see him play a game. The fact that they traded for dude, he's hurt already. You know what I'm saying? Like dude's already hurt, not even
Yeah.
playing. We traded for the guy. Like it's not very promising to me, man. Like it's hard for me to buy into it. It really is.
That's
But
a
you know,
potential
again,
cool stat, bro. You know, how many times has Kevin Durant been traded while injured? Because this is not the first time. He got traded to Brooklyn while his ACL was torn. That's talent, right? Like you're good when people. There were people freaking out on Twitter because they thought the trade was illegal because all they do is play 2K, and in 2K, as you know, Sean, you can't trade an injured player. So they're like, "How is that legal? You can't trade him. He's hurt." It's like, dude, that's not how it works in real life, dude. Ask Ricky Rubio about it. He'll tell you. Um,
dude.
yeah, so it just blows my mind. I don't blame them for making this trade. The asking price was very high. I doubt you could have done it without getting rid of Bridges, but that feels like one that's gonna hurt. That's okay. A championship cures all. I will ask you this. I will tell you my personal opinion, being a lifelong Cubs fan. That 2016 World Series means the world to me, metaphorically speaking, as far as sports championships and all that stuff go. I can be pretty content without another Colts Super Bowl. The only thing really that I need, the last stone for my infinity gauntlet, would be a Pacers NBA championship. But you really only need one, in my opinion. Some fans get spoiled, but I will ask you this. If it works, because in my opinion it has to work, otherwise you're really going to miss Bridges. If it works, was it worth what you gave up?
Yeah, I mean, if you get a championship out of it, then yeah, big picture, it's worth it. But you know, as long as you're content with that being happy with that for a while, because I mean, once that's over, you know, I could see them going back into a downward spiral unless they continue to build through the draft. But the issue is they gave up all their damn draft picks, dude. Like, so I mean, how are you really supposed to keep getting young talent other than free agency to keep the team strong? Like, I don't know, man. Like,
That's a good
I don't
question.
know. There's a lot of question marks around it for me.
Chris Paul's contract. So I'm going to think out loud as I look up Chris Paul's contract because I'm trying to actively think of players you might trade off for assets because, and I don't know that they would do that to Chris Paul at this point, but I want to see. It's I think he's still on his 4-year, $120 million deal. Let's here. I'll just go ahead and share this tab. But yeah, so he's partially guaranteed even next year, not guaranteed 24-25. So I don't know. It's kind of a tough one because there's no loyalty in this business. You would think if there was, Chris Paul probably won't get traded. But that's an asset. You can maybe get some draft picks back. But I get what you're saying. Your point still stands. You have mortgaged the future, not only in draft picks, but with the only player not named Devin Booker, maybe even the two players, because I don't want to short sell Cam Johnson. I think he's still got a lot of potential. I don't,
Yeah,
not the same potential that Bridges has, mind you, but
he is
they
a
gave up a
hell of a
lot.
shooter, man. He's got one of the most wettest jumpers in the league. Like, dude, he does. Like, that dude can shoot the ball, man. Like, it's just like you said, he's by far one of the best 3-and-D guys in the league. So, like, and he's young. He's only like 22 or 23 years old, dude. Like, he's really young. So, yeah, man.
That's another good point. It's tough to think now. They have the opportunity. The other issue here, it's kind of a short run. You know, they don't have a lot of
Yeah.
time to get all this together. Now, mind you, as we pointed out, the main actors will be together for another year, theoretically. I don't know how many years Chris Paul has in the tank as a starting point guard in this league. But theoretically, they don't have to win it this year. I actually heard, as James, my dear friend and co-host on The Bounce at Stadium Rant, check it out, folks, as he put it, it might be more likely that the Suns, that their peak is next year. That next year they are the team to beat. A lot of teams after the trade deadline, not a lot of teams, a lot of analysts immediately said, "Oh, the Suns, they got to be the team to beat." Now, I for one say it's Denver's conference to lose at the moment. They, of course, moved on from Bones Highland, which they're in a similar situation as you, Sean, except they didn't get a Kevin Durant in return. They gave up some promising young talent because they needed to. They cleared some space, and then they've of course have replaced that depth with Reggie Jackson. They added Thomas Bryant as some backup depth to the front court. But to me, it's Denver and everybody else because Memphis is sitting there second in the West, but they haven't looked quite as strong. You've got Dallas. Who knows what they'll be? We'll talk about them as well because when we take it back to the East, Brooklyn, somehow, some way, they fell forward in a way. They couldn't have botched this whole big three, the 16-game big three. They couldn't have botched that any worse. But yet somehow, for having your two best players demand to be traded 2 days before the trade deadline, they kind of came out a lot better than I expected them to. So Dallas gave
Absolutely.
up, much like your boys do, Dallas gave up a lot in return. Spencer Dinwiddie coming back to Brooklyn. Dorian Finney-Smith. We mentioned Cam Johnson. So Brooklyn got two of the best 3-and-D guys in the league back in this. So Brooklyn is now, in my opinion, back in a situation where they're one superstar away. You give Mikal Bridges another year, as long as he's happy. He was rumored to be flipped almost immediately. They were talking about flipping him for assets. At least it was rumored. So hopefully if he wants to stay in Brooklyn, you get Dinwiddie back in Brooklyn. They have Nick Claxton, who's on the rise. You get one big name to sign in Brooklyn. They're already stockpiled with nice rotation pieces, and they're ready to make another run. And they could still be a playoff team this year. So it's incredibly exciting, man. This trade deadline was one of the best in history, in my opinion, Sean. I don't know how you feel about it. I'm sure you probably wish fewer teams made moves so your Suns looked a little better, but they're still sitting pretty. But do you have any other thoughts? Now, okay, I should mention last night the Suns, your boys. I guess it was 2 nights ago at this point, as we are into the early hours of Saturday morning. But the Clippers beat your boys 116-107. Any thoughts or any issues with that loss? Of course, you still don't have KD, but
I saw that score. I've yet to actually watch the highlights from it, so I'm not really sure what went down, to be honest. But when I did see that score, I did give a sigh because I'm like, what the hell, man? Like, but I mean, like you said, they don't have KD yet, so that definitely probably played a part. But from what
Kawhi
I've
is
been
back.
seeing,
Paul George is back.
yeah, Kawhi and Paul George have been looking good, dude. From what I've seen, they're seem to be playing pretty well.
It didn't happen so much this game or the game. Actually, I think it was just this game. The game before this, Kawhi and up until that, Kawhi had been in Terminator mode, as they put it. He had 33 points against the Warriors, hit some crazy circus shots over Draymond. Another Terrence Mann showing up with 26 points in his 35 minutes, and then of course, so my opinion, Sean, the Clippers are the team to watch, a team that's not currently in the top half of the Western Conference playoff standings, that if they stay healthy, when you look at Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, they have Marcus Morris, Zubats, Terrence Mann. Then on the bench, they have Nick Batum, Mason Plumlee, who they just acquired from Charlotte, Bones Highland now, Eric Gordon, who they reacquired from Houston. They have Rob Covington. And then it gets a little thinner where they have, Amir Coffey, Diabate. These guys don't play, but they 1 through 10, especially when I talk about second units, I think the Clippers might have one of the best second units in basketball now, and they are one of the 4 teams in the running for a potential Russell Westbrook buyout companion. So something to keep an eye on. But yeah, no, a bummer there to take that loss. But for what it's worth, Sean, the Clippers have been one of the hotter teams in the West as we end the first half. So not a terrible loss, especially when you have to start Okigi and Torrey Craig for your boys there. Although, hey, T.J. Warren's back in town. Any thoughts about that? Maybe looked at as a throw-in in the Kevin Durant trade. You got T.J. Warren back on the bench.
I've
Do you still
seen
have
that.
hopes?
That's actually kind of dope. TJ was a stud when he played with us the first time around. He went to your boys and felt like he balled out over there. And
Bubble
yeah, I'm
T.J.
not
Warren
mad
is
to
a
have him
mythical
back.
character.
Yeah, dude, for sure. I gotta ask you though, man. Do you ever get sad when you see Kawhi out here balling out, thinking about what could have been? I gotta ask, man. Do you ever get sad? Because I know that
Yeah,
just sucks.
yeah. So and it's funny you mentioned that because you had mentioned Serge Ibaka pre-show, which is a player. So the Pacers acquired 3 Milwaukee Bucks during the trade deadline, just as it happened to work out. Serge Ibaka, who they moved on from, and they also acquired George Hill, who they didn't waive. They asked George Hill what he wanted to do. They could have waived him. He's due $4 million, I think. And if he wanted to go play for a contender, they would have been fine with that. And he's from Indianapolis. He went to IUPUI, and so he considers Indiana home. So he decided to run with the Pacers for the rest of the season. But that was a bittersweet pill to swallow because I can't think of George Hill without thinking about Kawhi Leonard. Because for those of you who do not know, as Sean so lovingly brings up on the weekend too, of all times, that Kawhi Leonard was drafted by the Indiana Pacers and was traded in a draft day swap for one George Hill, and I believe it was a draft swap. I can't remember who the drafted player was that the Pacers received in return because it doesn't matter because they traded future Finals MVP Kawhi Leonard away for a journeyman point guard who I do love. I love me some George Hill, but you just can't compare. It stings. Like the Paul George trade feels great, Sean, because we got Victor Oladipo and DeMontis. We got 2 All-Stars in return for 1. That's a win all day, And then when Oladipo wanted out, the Pacers got Karis LeVert, who played well, and then they were able to flip him for a first-round pick that they'll be selecting this year. So that feels like a win as well, especially you were an add-on. You got added in as a third team to a trade that you had nothing to do with just because Victor Oladipo wanted out of town. So it's like, well, he was about to walk in 6 months. Okay, hey, we get Karis LeVert instead, and we turn that guy into a first-round pick. That feels like a win.
Right.
The Kawhi Leonard one is one that you look at where you're like, oh, my God, dude, what could have been? Years
And that's
of
back when Larry
mediocrity.
Bird was running things, right?
It might be. Larry Bird might have been gone at that point. I don't know if that was after the first Carlisle run, but yeah, I'm not 100% sure. But yes, it was brutal because if you think about it, you could have had a young Kawhi Leonard and a young Paul George on the wings, and at that time, that was a Pacers team that had Roy Hibbert. During the stretch that he was good, they had a veteran
Boy,
David
Hibbert.
West.
Right.
Yeah. And this
My
was a
dude, I
team.
got him on my team, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Got a
Hey,
94 overall. Boy, Hibby out here, dog.
we got to start playing. I have to start playing some more my team because I'm more of a franchise guy. Like I love of the online modes. I like to play a lot of my team because they have the shortened quarters, but I'm big into expansion rebuilds. You know this, Sean, because anytime we do a franchise, that's what we do. So as you know, I did, or as you could have guessed, I did a 6-team expansion, and I am the Seattle Supersonics. And with having a draft class that includes Victor Wembanyama and Scoot Henderson and Amon Thompson, I'm just so excited. And of course, I couldn't help myself. I played too many games, so now I made the playoffs. So now my first round picks are worth shit, and I'm going to have to trade up if I have any chance. But yeah, I got to switch over to my team. I've been checking in long enough to, I put in my locker codes, and my team's not complete trash, but I got to get into it. I will say I love that they made Clutch Time a single player mode as well. Sean, if you didn't play in 2K22, you don't know how good you have it this year. Clutch Time used to only be a PvP mode. So that little 4-minute quarter game, that is so much, that's I love it. It's clutch in multiple ways. You used to not be able to do that and play against the computer, so that was a huge addition to me for my team. It's who
That's
else you
dope.
got? Any other dope my team cards you got? You want to shout
Oh,
out?
dude, I've got so many. My favorite is a 95 overall John Wall. You know me. John Wall is one of my all-time favorite UK's basketball players. So having him on the squad is dope. That's by far my favorite. I got a 97 overall Galaxy Opal Shaq. I've got a 96 Dave Robinson. Like, dude, I got some studs, man. I got so many good cards I don't even play with. Like, I got a 97 overall Jason Tatum that I don't touch because I have a 97 overall Scottie Pippen that I just dog out with. Like, dude,
Oh
I got
man.
some studs on there, man. Like, I actually just today acquired All Star. They have an All Star pack that I got, and well, I actually didn't even get the pack, but I just went and bought a few players with my team points, and I got a 94 overall Mac McClung. Dude, I can't
Oh.
wait to play with him, dude. I'm so pumped.
Oh.
I love me some
You.
Mac McClung.
I
So
do.
yeah, dude, I'm excited that I never would have thought that they would make a Mac McClung card because he's not even technically. I mean, isn't he still G League?
Not anymore because well, this happened.
Ooh,
Mac McClung of the Blue Coats, easy for me to say, pal, is
so yeah,
going
he
to
is G
be
League.
in the dunk contest. But after this was announced, which we can pick our winners here in a second, after that was announced, it was also announced that the 76ers have picked up his two-way contract. So in the second half, good old Mac will potentially be playing in the league. So, but yeah, he's in the G League for right now, technically, still. But so far,
Dude, I
so
hope
good.
so, man. I feel like he's such an underrated player, man. Like I've been following this dude since he was in high school, and like like everyone else, I got hip to him from the internet. He was a viral sensation with just being this itty bitty white guy who could fucking dunk on everybody. And not only that, I mean, he's just a good playmaker. He reminds me of like a Chris Paul, like as far as his playmaking abilities, the way he can dish the ball out, his court vision's great. Like there's so many things to like about him. And I always like thought it was kind of shitty that he's gotten kind of snubbed, like from landing on an NBA team permanently thus far. Like I'm hoping this 76ers run will give him the exposure he needs to make a point to the league. Where like, look, this dude deserves a spot on a roster somewhere, man. Like I mean, I think his size has turned a lot of people off, but he's so athletic, dude. I'm not, like, dude, like the guy can dunk on 7 footers, no problem. Like he will embarrass you, like if you give him a chance. So I don't know. I think he's got the athleticism to do it, man. Like I don't know. I think I'm excited to see what happens for real. So I'm going to look forward to playing with him on my team for the time being. And for those of you listening who do follow our Twitch account, expect to see some live streams of me balling out with my boy Mackie McClungums. Just want to let y'all know it's coming soon, bro.
That's a good point. You should follow us on Twitch at Bite Size Sports. And if you want to catch the stream afterward, we'll of course save the VOD. But if you're more of a YouTube guy, you can find all of our video game content on our second channel. That's Bite Size Streams. You can also find, that's where I put most of the video game prognosticator. Oh, it's really the retro game prognosticator where I predict upcoming sporting events using PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, Xbox 360, Nintendo, any old game I can get my hands on. So, yeah, be sure to check that out. And again, you can also check out Sean's and my team. We both do some pack openings there every now and again. And I will start to stream a Dynasty. To be honest, I play that Supersonics thing at like 3 or 4 in the morning, and I won't be entertaining to anyone. That's my late night escape. But we'll do a reboot. Honestly, Sean, you and I need to get on it, and we need to do a co-run Dynasty for the folks on the second channel one of these days.
Dude, we definitely need to do that. I didn't even know you had 2K, dude. This is news to me.
Well, I
I'm
have it
ready
on
for
the
that.
PS4. I have it on PS4, so
Oh,
it's
gotcha.
yeah, but hey, if we stream it, I can put it on the company card, But we'll talk about that offline, huh? Anyway, so Mac McClung is joining potentially the third-ranked Philadelphia 76ers. They are third in the Eastern Conference, only 3 games behind Boston. Milwaukee pulled out it's technically a big win, but it's kind of not a big win. They beat Boston earlier this week, but Boston didn't have Tatum or Brown or Marcus Smart, and yet the Bucks took overtime to beat them. So, yeah, Mac McClung could find himself thrust into the rotation of a very important playoff run here. The 76ers are 23-8 at home, but only 15-11 away. I don't know. I think the 76ers are just on the outside. I don't know. To me, Sean, it's Boston or Milwaukee going to the NBA Finals, and I'll be surprised. I will be thoroughly surprised if it's anyone else. What do you think? 76ers, they got Harden, they got Embiid, they're getting your boy Mackie McClung. Do you think he's enough of a spark plug? They moved I believe they traded Matisse Thybulle away. Do you think the Sixers have a shot at a title this year?
Not at a title, no. I think they need another piece, maybe two. Um,
They added
I
Dewayne
think Mac
Dedmon.
McClung will. No, like I said, another piece or two, bro. But no, I think Mac McClung will provide a spark, and I think he'll stand out enough where if they don't re-sign him, I would be shocked because I think he's going to ball out, and I honestly see him becoming a fan favorite in the city of brotherly love. I think they'll like him a lot because he is intense and he does bring an intensity just to his game in general. He's very expressive, and they like that shit in Philly. So I think I definitely see it become a fan favorite, and I think he'll do well enough. They'll probably re-sign him, but they do need to get another piece. Maybe, like I said, maybe two in the off season. I think they need some. I think they could benefit from having like another big, like preferably a 4 spotter. They need like a solid power forward to help him beat out down there. I just don't. He just can't do it all by himself all the time, and plus he has some injury issues as well. So having another big or two could be crucial. Because I mean, Harden's gotten older. He's not the same Harden he was in Houston. Obviously, he's not putting up 45 a night. So he's more of a facilitator at this point in his career, which is great. But he's not someone that's going to get you there. Just him and Embiid. Like you need at least another
Yeah.
two or three pieces. You need a solid starting five at least. And that's not. Obviously some help off the bench will be useful, but you at least need a solid starting five, I think, to really have a chance to run in a championship. So I don't know, man. And like you said, you're going to run into
Absolutely,
the
yeah.
Bucks and wait, who else did you say?
And Boston.
Oh,
It's
and
to
Boston.
me,
Yeah.
Boston's at the top, barring injury, and then Milwaukee absolutely could be right there. Because I know you said you don't miss Jay Crowder in Phoenix, but Jay Crowder is a great addition to Milwaukee. He does exactly what they need. They don't need a lot in Milwaukee, but again, today's word is 3 and D. And Crowder, sorry, Sean, I know this you might be indifferent, but I'm sure you don't love hearing it, but he is running around, he is shooting jumpers, he's looking good. He didn't play tonight or last night, but he was out there shooting warm up jumpers, running around. He's knocking down his threes. That's really all you're asking for him. You're not asking him to put the ball on the court. You're asking him to catch and shoot and get into somebody's grill, as they used to say when I was playing. And so, yeah, he's a nice addition. Imagine if PJ Tucker had a jump shot. And so, like, the Bucks have filled the PJ Tucker role, but also this guy can make 2 to 6 threes a game, 6 being, he's really hot that night. But we saw it, right? I think even in the NBA Finals, Jay Crowder had a couple of big shooting nights. Again, he's going to be the fourth or fifth option whenever he's on the court. But when you have a guy who has the ability to knock down jumpers to that, someone who can get hot like that, and he's going to be the guy that you have to leave open. It's a nice addition to have. So the Bucks got deeper, but for me, it's still Boston in the East and it's Denver in the West. But there are teams like maybe the Sixers. On the West, I'm much higher on a team like the Clippers, like I mentioned, that are lower in the standings, but I see them on the rise. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think the Sixers have done enough. There are some teams in the buyout market. There are a lot of players that are still available. You mentioned Serge Ibaka. Kevin Love is another one. I can pull up our buyout player tracker here in just a moment. We can look through a couple of these names and see if we have any options available to us or any players that we think might fit somewhere. So I almost have it up here. Bear with me just one more moment. And here we go, Sean. So we've got our buyout candidate tracker. Now, there is going to be a tweet here. Boom, here it is. Here's the thread. There are some other names that didn't make this tweet. I think there's about 14 or 15 names in total to watch, but Russell Westbrook, of course, being the big one. Are there any other names, or it could be Russell if you want, but any names that stick out you want to talk about first? Some of these guys have already been bought out, but they're likely all going to be. So anybody here you think is going to be a big difference maker in the playoff landscape?
As far as making the difference in the playoffs, no, I don't really see anything that stands out.
Ooh,
I mean, John Wall going back to Houston. That's
not going to happen. Yeah, he gone.
Yeah, I don't think that would work.
He got traded about 2 days after he talked shit about all of Houston on a podcast. So no, I don't even think he got on a plane. I think his agent called and said, "What's the buyout offer?" Yeah, so he's available.
That's hilarious. I did hear rumors about him going to the Suns at one point. I just don't know if that would work.
The Suns are about to be what Brooklyn has been the last 2 years, or even LA. They're a destination absolutely, at least for the next 2 years. You guys will be in every buyout conversation. I promise you that.
Just a hot nursing home over there, dog. It's crazy.
Just like when y'all had Steve Nash and Grant Hill and Shaquille O'Neal and Amari Stoudemire, just rejuvenating everybody's career out here. You got the best trainers in Phoenix. I don't know what it is. If I ever need to fix my rotator cuff, I'm going to move out to Arizona. Get it done.
That is a wild. Didn't the Wizards waive Will Barton already?
Mm-hmm. Yep. I think he also might have been mentioned before. I think he might have been linked to the Suns before they went ahead and got Terrence Ross. But I don't know. I don't know if it works out. If the math works, I would love to see Will Barton return to Denver because it just has never felt right him not being there. He was sent there in the KCP trade, but yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, Will Barton is one of the bigger names to me on here as far as potential impact to a playoff roster.
You think Washington has a chance?
No, but he's waived. Washington.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, Washington will be 10th maybe. They'll make the play-in likely with how things are shaken down in the East, but no, I think Will Barton, if you add him to a deeper roster,
contender,
he's a rotation piece. Yeah, he could be a difference maker. I do agree. So it's funny. Russell Westbrook, I've seen. Well, you've got Shams who thinks, or who has reported, and this was also at one point tweeted by Legion Hoops, but they deleted the tweet, that Russell Westbrook might not play at all after he's bought out and just wait until next season to try to get a better contract. But there are 4 teams that have been rumored to go the Russell Westbrook route, and I believe they are the Clippers, the Bulls. Who else? I'm going to search this one while we pull it up. But we'll start with the Clippers or the Bulls or just in general. So we've had the one end of the spectrum, Sean, is that Russell Westbrook won't even play the rest of this year. But I have seen it said, I think just in the last 24 hours, there have been big names in the basketball world saying that where Russell Westbrook goes will decide the fate of the playoffs. So what do you think? Do you think Russell Westbrook has it in him to be an impact game-changing player? And if you do, like, what's the team that he could go to? Is it Chicago? Is it LA? Do you think he is going to help somebody?
I honestly don't, man. I think his ship is sailed from like a superstar standpoint. Like he's just not the same guy anymore. Now he's not triple double Westbrook anymore,
True.
dude. He's like, I mean, he'll be, I mean, he'll add value. I mean, somehow, some way, like he'll bring, good energy, and I think you know, he'll play decent enough to earn a roster spot. I just don't see him being the guy anywhere, and I don't think he's going to even necessarily be like a piece of anybody's big three. Or I just don't see him being that kind of caliber of talent anymore, man. Like he's older, and he's his body's taken a lot. I mean, he's not a huge guy, and he's been very physical his whole career. Like he's just not the same dude anymore, man. He's taking a lot of wear and tear. So I don't. I would hope whoever does acquire him doesn't do anything stupid and give up a lot of money to this guy who, quite frankly, is not much more than a role player in my opinion this day and age. What do you think, though, Kev? You think he's making a difference, big difference somewhere?
No, I agree. I agree with a lot about what you said. He's definitely going to be a role player, and I think his time with LA, although he didn't accept it at first, I think he now has accepted the fact that he is a role player, that he's a bench player. Now, that's my big question. Uh, as long as Russell accepts a limited role for a playoff team, I think there's a very good chance that he could be helpful off the bench. So when I look at the Clippers, especially, are an attractive location to me. And I'll get into that more specifically here in a moment. But some other names that have been mentioned: the Wizards, the Bulls, the Clippers, the Heat, and for some reason the Hornets, although that doesn't make any sense to me. So I'm going to disregard this Hornets that's on courtside Heat here. And we're going to replace, who was it else that we just saw from this other article? Anyway, so we're going to go with the Bulls, the Heat, and the Clippers. That's really the big three that I would think about. Oh, yes, the Wizards being the fourth. There we go. That was the fourth that I was missing. Because technically, the last time they were playing together, they did have Russell did help them go from a sub 500 team. They did make a run all the way into the play-in either 1 or 2 years ago. So they had some success together, Russell and Washington. For me, if I'm Washington, you're better off not even making the play. And I don't remember, unless they don't have a draft pick. I don't remember, forgive me, I don't know Washington's draft scenario coming into the year. I didn't prep for that. But I don't understand adding Russell if you're the Wizards, because you're not going to win anything. There's nothing to do. See also Chicago Bulls. The biggest mistake, in my opinion, the biggest dropping of the ball, the biggest failure of the trade deadline was the Chicago Bulls doing absolutely nothing, because they didn't trade any of their assets away and they didn't acquire anything to get better, and they just continue to lose after the trade deadline. So now they're sitting on some guys that are going to walk, or they're going to have to pay big money to re-sign, who aren't going to be worth the money that's due. So if I'm the Bulls, no way am I going after Russell Westbrook, because again, it's not going to do enough to move the needle. And now we get to the two teams that I think if Russell Westbrook goes there, maybe, just maybe, it's enough. Miami Heat, first of all, they need a point guard. They've been talking about it all year. Kyle Lowry's not getting them what they need. Russell Westbrook theoretically fits the Miami Heat's culture of, we're going to work really hard, we're going to bust your ass, we're going to be in your face. I think Russell Westbrook absolutely would be a Pat Riley guy. The best option, in my humble opinion, is the Los Angeles Clippers, and here's why. They don't have a point guard hardly at all. We looked at that roster before. We looked at the last game earlier. We looked at the scorecard. You've got Terrence Mann, who out of necessity has played point guard for some time. Reggie Jackson's gone. That's not an option. You signed or traded for Bones Highland, who technically, yes, is a point guard. He's pretty raw. He shows a lot of potential. He's maybe honestly a two guard in my opinion. I don't know that Bones Highland is a true point. Bones Highland and Terrence Mann to me have a lot of similarities. They're both athletic, defensive-minded guards, wing players that can technically be point guard if you want. But Paul George has spent a lot of his time that he's been healthy running the offense for the Clippers. Now, Paul George, his best years in the NBA were the years that he played alongside one Russell Westbrook in Oklahoma City. And Paul George, among all players, has been the most vocal about get Russell over here. And if there's one guy who, if Paul George would love to say, hey, you take the ball for 15 to 20 minutes a game, you run the offense, let me be Paul George, maybe Kawhi will be out there, maybe you'll be running the second unit. I think if Russell Westbrook buys into a limited role and you add him to the Los Angeles Clippers, already one of the deepest teams in the NBA, that moves the needle for me. That gets me excited. I think that the Clippers, a healthy Clippers team with him running the second unit, very tough to beat. So sorry for the extended monologue there, Sean, but that is my breakdown on the Russell Westbrook situation. Pencils down.
Well, now that you've broke it down for us, I must say you've convinced me on the Clippers. Like that does sound like that would be a good spot for him. But yeah, anywhere else, I don't like. I don't. He's not like I said. He's not the guy. But if you throw him on a team that already has a lot of depth and don't necessarily need him, but could benefit from having his presence, then yeah, that sounds like the team to roll with for sure. So yeah,
I like it. Well,
that happen.
I'm gonna be rooting for it. As Paul George has said, the Clippers winning one would mean so much more than the Lakers winning one. If I can't have a Pacers championship, which I can't, not this year, I wouldn't mind seeing a team like the Lakers or the Clippers. God bless it. It's late, folks. Wouldn't see a team like the Clippers getting off the schneid. Here's a little palate cleanser. I forgot. I meant to pull this up earlier, but I did this just for you, Sean. So happy together.
That
I
is
can't
too
see
funny.
me winning a chip without you and CP3. All right. Do you want to pick some all-star winners real quick? We got some
Let's
contests to
do
look
it.
at for tomorrow. Let's start with, I think, everybody's appetizer. We'll start with I don't know if it's the least favorite. I don't want to be mean, but it's the skills challenge. We have Team Antetokounmpos. What's your first thoughts on that one, Sean? This is a repeat from last year, but we got the Antetokounmpo brothers as a team. How do you feel about that?
I don't know how to feel about
Fair enough. Second team is the Utah Jazz. And then the third team is Team Rooks, not Team Rookies for some reason, but Paolo Banchero, Jaden Ivey, and Jabari Smith Jr. Now, outside of Benedict Mathurin, because I'm a homer, these are the best three rookies you could have for the skills challenge. So if you had to pick a winner, Sean, who would you pick for the skills challenge?
Dude, I honestly am liking the way that Team Rooks is looking, dude. I can dig
Mm-hmm.
that squad, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I
It's
mean,
solid.
Banchero, Jaden Ivey, and Jabari Smith Jr. Like that's kind of a lineup, dude.
That's the
I
one,
like
dude. I'm
that.
going with you. I ain't even doing. We're not doing this undisputed Skip and Shannon nonsense. We're making the rational. This the pick. This is the pick I made on the bounce earlier this week. So there's no way I'm going away from it now. If they allow you to bet on this bet on Team Rooks, I'm telling you, they'll take it down. I would love to see the Antetokounmpo boys pull it out and win, but not going to happen. And I refuse to root for Team Utah because this whole thing being in Utah is the whole reason we all have to deal with Karl Malone's ass coming out of the woodwork. Have you heard about this, Sean? This punk is
No.
back. Karl Malone's going to be a dunk contest judge, I believe.
What?
I, for one, think that Karl Malone has no business being back in the NBA. And his whole thing is he's trying to give back to his brothers and help find a way to make sure that no NBA players go poor, which sounds like a great initiative, and it is a great initiative. However, I won't get too graphic on this show, but I will say this. Just do me one quick favor before you go patting Karl Malone on the back or get excited about a Karl Malone reunion in Utah. Do me the favor of Google searching the word Karl Malone 13-year-old, all right? Or you could look up Karl Malone's children and find out which one of his children, a former NFL player, and you can just look into the information about their parents, all right? So Karl Malone is a scumbag. He's a predator who threw money. Is the only reason Karl Malone's not in prison is because of money and because he was able to buy a family's compliance. And he has no bit. And how dare, and I love the NBA. I love it so much. And it's just a black eye on the NBA that has no bit, there's no need for it. Karl Malone has no business being in an arena that has that many children in it, to be frank. So, Sean, I guess, do you know of what I'm talking? Do you know why I'm so mad about Karl Malone, and do you agree or disagree with my opinion that he shouldn't be here?
Well, after hearing all that, yeah, I don't really have any other choice not to agree with you. If he's out diddling little kids, dude, I'm not about that life. But I'll
So,
be
okay,
honest, I had no idea that was a thing.
I think I can do this without being graphic. Karl Malone fathered a child in college with a 13-year-old. And he was able to retroactively, I'll say allegedly, all right? Allegedly, he was able to retroactively get the parents signed a consent waiver. So technically, no laws were broken. But Karl Malone also, he has multiple children. Nothing of this is a knock against the children. That's, and I won't go too further, but he's had multiple professional athlete children. And the only ones that he's also had multiple other, he's like Nick Cannon, but with sports. And the only ones he's ever shown any time of day to have been the ones who have gone on to be professional athletes. Once you're worth a dime, Karl Malone has time for you. So I'm not hearing it. I'm not here to listen to Karl Malone is here to do anything for anyone in the NBA that's not named Karl Malone. Karl Malone. And I would just say that the mailman doesn't deliver on Sunday, so keep his ass away from anything that's going on Sunday or Saturday. I don't care. Get him away. And I'm not normally one who says go to the streets, go to the tweets, but I have done my part every time I've seen anyone mention that Karl Malone will be a part of the festivities. I've taken a couple seconds out of my day to quote, tweet, and mention Google search Karl Malone 13 and tell me you still want this guy here this weekend, because the NBA still has time to fix this. You can fix this. I'm not a big cancel culture guy, but I draw the line at the safety of children, all right? I will happily say, yeah, get that dude out of here when it comes to the safety of children. So, no Karl Malone for me. Thank you. Sorry for those who aren't here to hear about my politics. I appreciate you sitting through 3 minutes of me, shouting from my soapbox. But it had to be said. I'm sorry. It had to be said. We're in Utah. The Utah Jazz came up. But, Sean, let me it and switch it back to the lecture at hand, which is the dunk contest. So I think I know who you're going to pick, but I'm going to let you have the first pick here. Who you got winning the slam dunk contest?
You already know, dude. I'm taking my boy Mackey's. Let's do it.
I like it. I cannot necessarily disagree with you. He would be my first choice. So let me say this instead. My dark horse, or my second choice, is Kenyon Martin Jr. Now,
what is it to say?
Be still my nostalgic heart, Sean. Do you have some fond memories of this guy's father?
I wouldn't say fond memories. Don't get me wrong. I mean, his dad was definitely a stud, but I don't know. I wouldn't say I'm a fan per se of Kenyon Martin,
guy,
but
you loved having him on your team. You hated to play against him, probably, right?
Yeah.
I will say this: the Kenyon Martin, Richard Jefferson, Vince Carter, Jason Kidd Nets, despite them maybe being remembered as being a part of the most boring NBA finals in the last 50 years, that was a pretty special team. So Kenyon Martin was was something special, and he could throw it down with the best of them. So I think Kenyon Martin Jr. has the ability. He might be a step above what his dad was doing. So if you're not going Mac McClung, which I'm all in on Mac McClung, I think it's the best story. I'm almost frustrated at the Sixers for not just waiting until after the dunk contest to sign him, because it's a better story if the G League guy wins the dunk contest. And he's already said he's planning on doing 2 dunks that he says he's never seen at a dunk contest before. So he's calling his shot. And
Let's go.
I'm picking heart over my head, dude. I don't care. Give me Mac McClung all day.
So the dunk contest is tonight, right?
Well, yes, tonight. I mean, we're recording at 1:10 in the morning, and as of the time this is be released, yes, it'll be tonight. Yep.
So what, 8 o'clock or
8:15? Yep. So here we go. Yeah, the coverage starts. We'll pull it up. Oh, it's not on this. It's not on this one. Oh my goodness. Oh, here we go. I'll get rid of the banner, and we will have it right there. Coverage starts. Well, that's the draft. That's the All-Star game is Sunday at 7:30. And I believe it starts at 8:30. The Duncan 3-point contest. There we go. Starts at 8. Saturday at 8 p.m.
yeah, I'm gonna have to watch that. I need to add that to the reminder calendar day.
Well, I will
say
say
I gotta watch that live.
I'll say it to you, and I'll say it to all those folks. Now it's a great time for me to announce some big news, which is that Bite Size Sports has partnered with Playback TV, and we will be doing multiple live streams throughout the week where we analyze and chat through NBA games. And I'm going to do a bit of a soft launch here over All-Star Weekend, because why not? Why wouldn't we want to hang out and watch the All-Star festivities together? So it may be the 3-point contest, maybe the dunk contest, maybe the All-Star game in general, but keep on the lookout. Follow us on Twitter at Bite Size Sports, or follow me at KevNevick_, Sean there, Baker Screet, and be notified when we go live, because we're going to be watching that stuff together. So Sean, by all means, you are invited. I'll have a microphone ready and reserved for you, brother. So we will be looking forward to those festivities.
Oh,
and let's see now. Time to pick our next winner, Sean. I will again allow you to go first on this one. Now, Julius Randle, it should be pointed out, Julius Randle is a late game substitute for Anthony Simons, so I was robbed of having 2 Indiana Pacers and 2 Portland Trailblazers in this one. But yeah, go ahead, sir. What are your thoughts?
That is tough, but I have to choose one. Can I say my final 3? Can I list that?
Absolutely, live it up.
Okay, because last round's 3 dudes, right? So
I believe that's correct.
I'm gonna go Dame Lillard. Then I'm gonna go Tyler Hero.
Ooh.
And I'm gonna go your boy Tyrese.
I like it. I like it a lot. Okay.
Now that wasn't easy, man, because Kevin Huerter is a shooter, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Jason Tatum is a shooter. Like Buddy Hield, obviously. I mean, that's what got him into the NBA, but it's tough. But yeah, I'm gonna stick to my 3, man. I think Dame's gonna take it, because like Dame is an automatic bucket, dude. Speaking of Dame, I do have a 97 overall Galaxy Opal Dame Lillard on my squad, and it does not matter from where I shoot the ball, that dude makes it. Like it's like automatic, dude. He's just an automatic bucket. So I know, 2K is a lot different than real life, but there's a reason why he's so damn good in 2K, and that's because he is a bucket waiting to happen. So
yes, and you bring up a good point. They do have the 4-point shot, so that's advantage to Dame. Now, this is a tough one for me, and I'm going to take this moment to force all of you to listen to a brief moment in Pacer history. So you might be surprised to learn, Sean, that in all of NBA history, no Indiana Pacer has ever won the 3-point contest.
Oh, wow. Even right? Reggie?
Even Reggie, 0 for 5. I hate to even say it out loud. Please, I hope my idol, my childhood idol doesn't hear this and hate me for saying it. But yes, Reggie was 0 for 5 and Paul George was 0 for 3. So the Pacers, they've had, I believe, multiple dunk contest winners at this point, but no 3-point contest winners. So Tyrese Halliburton and Buddy Hield, they're the only team that has 2 out of the 8 in here. So their odds are better than they've ever been. I also think it should be noted that Buddy Hield, before the All-Star break, so in 60 games, mind you, he has already set the Indiana Pacers single season 3-point record. So he's already broken one of Reggie Miller's records. So with that in mind, I like the odds of a Pacer winning this thing. Now it's hard. I feel like I have to pick one. I don't want to have my final 3 include 2 Pacers. So let's see. We're going to go with Dame Lillard because he may never get a championship, so we at least need to see this guy win the 3-point contest. He deserves it. My other finalist would be Kevin Huerter. As you've pointed out, the dude's a sniper. He's one of many reasons why the Sacramento Kings are a top 4 team in the West right now. No one's talking about them. We'll continue to talk about them because they deserve it. And you know what? It's a little bit of it is revenge for the early 2000s. Long live the Kings. They're finally going to break their playoff drought, and I would love to see Kevin Huerter show the league what is up. But for my third finalist and my champion, I'm going to give it to Tyrese Halliburton. Now, I would be just as happy if it's Buddy Hield, but Tyrese is shooting about 40% from 3. So, yeah, give me Tyrese Halliburton. So that way, 2 different players can, unfortunately, sort of dethrone Reggie Miller as the all-time Pacers' greatest 3-point shooter.
I like it. I like it a lot. We only have one different player in our top 3, so I don't know. Maybe that's a sign, dude. Yeah, bro. Cool stat, bro.
Yes. And we might as well look at it. We don't have to pick because it's going to be hard to pick, but this is going to lead me to a question that I think, Sean, you will find very interesting. So here's the player pool. There will be a draft. So keep that in mind. Now, it was announced today that in order to avoid a last player drafted scenario, that not only, this year, unlike previous years, they are doing the draft the night of. They're doing the draft like an hour before the All-Star game. So they're essentially schoolyard, open gym, recess style, picking teams damn near at half court, you know how they used to do it back in the day. A couple of the seniors would walk up and be like, all right, we're the 4 captains. You go around, you pick your teams. That's basically what they're about to do. But to avoid hurt feelings, they are going to draft the reserves first. And then, because, as you know, the starters are selected, they're selected through voting. So they'll draft the reserves first and then the starters. So that somehow, in some way, that provides an illusion that no one was the last pick. So I kind of have already foreshadowed what my opinions are on this. So I will just ask you, Sean, how do you feel about the NBA All-Star game? The best players in the NBA taking these steps to avoid a Mr. Irrelevant last person being drafted.
I think we live in a really soft fucking time, man. Like, I really do. Us as kids can handle getting picked last. Dude, it happens in life. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just enabling this participation trophy fucking culture that we live in. I'm not going to go on a big rant right now. You know what I'm saying? But I will say, I think it's fucking stupid. But whatever keeps these multi-million-dollar athletes from getting their feelings hurt for being picked last for a fucking all-star game. Like, get out of my face, bro. It's ridiculous.
I'm with you.
But yeah.
It's the all-star game. You're the best of the best in the league. Who cares?
Right.
Like you said, I've been last picked in recess, been last pick in intramurals. Like, it's a lot of people deal with it. It's something most of us get over before before hair starts growing in weird places on our bodies. If I'm being real blunt with you,
Yeah.
like the
If
fact that
anything, I mean, as a kid, if I got picked last or something, if anything, dude, I'm motivated to kick ass, bro. Like
right,
I'm trying to come in there and be, show out. Like I was always my mentality. I can't necessarily remember a particular time where I was picked last, but I'm sure it's happened, and I don't think I ever cried about it. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah, you
I don't
got.
know.
I don't know. You got dudes out here making up stories about other people so they can pretend. You got the Kansas City Chiefs pretending that everyone was doubting them all season, and then you've got, Tom Brady did it for 20 years. Nobody ever gives me any credit while the whole league just bows to him. You got Shaquille O'Neal pretending that David Robinson snubbed him so he could play harder. And here's an opportunity to give one player some extra motivation to go off at the All-Star game, mind you. God forbid he be motivated to go put on a show. Yeah, let's just protect feelings instead because everyone needs to. My God,
So ridiculous, man.
yeah, it's not a good
I
look,
don't know.
man.
I literally I worry about the future of our world, man. Like if we keep this mentality where we can't let anybody's feelings get hurt, you're gonna have a bunch of soft motherfuckers, dude. Like I don't understand how you can't see that. Like when I say you, not you particularly, Kev, but you know what I mean.
I'm
I
offended.
don't know how people can just not foresee this being a problem. Like you can't coddle people their whole fucking life, especially when grown men. Like stop calling these grown ass men, man. This is ridiculous. This is not the example we want to set for our children. I work hard to make sure my kids aren't soft. Like like seriously, man. Like there's times where I have to seriously hold back because let's keep it real, dude. I love my future wife, but she coddles the shit out of my stepson, and I constantly have to hold back because it's like I don't want to be the asshole, but damn it, stop this shit. This is ridiculous. Should not be crying because you didn't get Cheez-Its, bro. This is retarded. Stop. Grow, grow a pair, dog. You say you got hair on your nuts, act like it. Stop fucking crying about Cheez-Its, bro. I'm tired of this. Anyways, just had to throw it out there. I love
Oh, I
them.
love it. I do. I do get upset when I can't have Cheez-Its either. So I feel for him.
That was just an example, by the way. It wasn't necessarily a real thing, but damn it, it's just like, come on, man.
I hope
I
it.
don't want kids growing up soft.
I
Just
hope the
saying.
comedy was implied, but yes, the final disclaimer here, just to be safe. Oh man, so we've got the All-Star game all selected. I mean, we've got the second half of the NBA. There's one other trade actually we haven't really talked about much. So maybe the Mavs got Kyrie Irving. So maybe I
Yeah.
will I will combine that into what can be my final question to you, Sean. And of course, if you have something else, feel free to ping pong it back. But uh, who do you have as your favorites? And you don't have to pick one. Maybe if you want to go with who you think will be in the conference finals for both the East and the Western Conference. Will the Mavericks, now that they have two superstars, will they potentially be it? Or who if you had to pick today, going in now that we have a clean break, everybody's got about a week off, who would you pick to be in the conference finals this year?
As of right now, I would have to say, as far as the East is concerned, it's probably going to be the Celtics and the Bucks. And for the West, I'm probably going to have to say, let's go. Yeah, there we go. Yeah,
Yeah, the
for the
Lakers are all the way
West.
down at 13th in case you're looking for them.
No, was not. But thank you. Um, I'm gonna have to say Denver and honestly do the Clippers, man.
Ooh, I like that. I like that. All
Clippers and
right.
the Bugs, dude.
Okay. So let me see here. I
Pelicans have the 7 seed right now.
Hey,
That's
keep your eye
crazy.
out on the Pelicans because here's the thing: Zion Williamson is hurt and he might be missing some more time, but Brandon Ingram is back. And true believers and longtime listeners of both this show and The Bounce know that I have been telling you for a long time that Brandon Ingram is the best player on the New Orleans Pelicans roster. He's the best player, not Zion. Zion is the sexy pick, the attractive pick, the name that everybody knows because he was the big star player from Duke. But Brandon Ingram is too legit to quit, as my uncle MC Hammer used to say. And if Zion Williamson can get healthy before the year is over, I would not want to be the team that has to beat the Pelicans in a best of 7 in round 1. They might not get to their real window until next year. It's unfortunate because Brandon Ingram missed about 20 games in the first half. So they had no BI to start the season, and Zion was carrying things. They have a great supporting cast. McCollum, that's the thing. If CJ McCollum can be your third option, you're a deadly team. But he's been the second or first option, because then there was time where Zion and BI were both out. Now BI's finally back. He scored 25 plus for a few games in a row now. Keep an eye out for the Pelicans, man. But yeah, my picks, honestly, I'm sticking with Denver. And, I really, really like that Clippers pick that you made. So instead, just to be a bit contrarian, I will give your Suns the run, because I do think that in a world where everybody stays healthy, it's, I don't want to be the guy who has to figure out how to defend an offense with less than 10 seconds that can either get it to Durant, get it to Booker, or Chris Paul might just run the pick and roll on you. And as we have seen in previous playoff runs, they can run a little baseline alley-oop to Ayton too if they need. Ayton's kind of the forgotten guy here. Poor guy didn't even get thrown into a lot of the art that got made. Durant, they instantly went to a big three as if Ayton didn't sign for a max deal in the offseason. But don't count out your boys, Sean. I understand you being pessimistic. That's the kind of fan that I am, but I don't count out Phoenix yet. And in the East, yeah, it's Boston and Milwaukee. There's nobody else. Philly's somebody's gonna have to get hurt if the Sixers want to be in the Eastern Conference Championship. So there we go. That's my money. I think we're looking at a Nuggets Celtics finals. Not maybe not the sexiest pick, but if the Clippers get there, I ain't gonna be mad. But that might wrap us up, Sean. Do you have anything on your docket? Is there anything that we haven't talked about that we can chat with the folks before we head them home?
No, I think we covered all the bases. I feel pretty content with the way this production has went. So I want to thank everyone for tuning in. You can follow me at Baker Street on the Twitters. Obviously, we got bite _size sports on everywhere. And you can also tune in on our Twitch channel, which Kev pitched earlier, because I will be doing some streamings on there in the 2K. And be on the lookout for my boy Mac McClung coming through, dog. Let him know. And I also got Kenyon Martin Jr., dude, out of that same package. So might have to pair those two on a little squad, dude.
Ooh, so, yeah, there we go. Get a little fantasy build put in there. I like that. Yeah, absolutely. And don't forget, folks, to be on the lookout. Please subscribe, or I should say, subscribe for sure, but follow us on Twitter, because I cannot wait to officially announce our first Playback TV stream. But also, we're going to start getting more Twitter spaces going, because we want to get more interaction. We want to hear more from you. We'll be doing more live streams on our YouTube channel as well. But I also have recently signed up on AMP. So on AMP, actually find me under Kev Nevick. I'm trying to switch it to Bite Size Sports, but for now it's just under my name. But AMP is a place where, much like this, we can live stream. It's a radio program, so might mix in some music every now and again. Shout out to my boy Cosmic Jive. We might even play a Sean B track. I don't know. I haven't gotten his permission yet. So anyway, be sure to check us out. The only way to know when we're going live is to follow us on Twitter, because that's my social media addiction of choice. So in the meantime, like, subscribe, share, all of that. We really appreciate it. You have no idea how much it helps the channel. But until then, and in the meantime, we just thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.
This dude just did this.